There we go. All right, happy Monday, everyone, and welcome to our mentorship program orientation. I'm Torcia Eubanks, the Director of Events and Operations for NCEDA. So it's scheduled for an hour today. It may take the full hour, may take 30 to 45 minutes. We'll just see how it flows. But right now, we'll ask everyone, if you are not speaking, will you please mute your microphone? If not, I will politely go in and do it for you. All right, so to kick things off, we're going to have Liz do a welcome.
Thanks, everybody, for being with us today. And I'm sorry I couldn't Zoom in. I am on the way to a doctor's appointment that would have been a beast to reschedule. And so I just decided that I would call in and do it this way. But we are so happy that y'all are signed up to participate in the 24-25 mentorship program for NCEDA this year. We had a great response again this year. As y'all may recall, this was kind of a pilot program last year for us. We have, over the years, tried to kick off some different mentorship programs, and none of them were really successful. And we were really pleased overall with how last year's program was. And we got some feedback from the mentees and mentors from last year and tweaked some things, which you will see today. Part of that was the handbook that was created to give just some more guidelines and structure to the program. But we certainly hope that y'all really enjoy participating this year. Well, I'll say that just with everything and with NCED in general, you're going to get out of it what you put into it. And so I would encourage the mentees and mentors to really reach out to each other and really work hard to build a strong relationship. We will have a kickoff reception at the fall conference for those of you who will be able to join us at 4 o'clock at the Grandover, and we'll send out more information about that later this week. But just wanted to let y'all know about that, just an opportunity for those who are going to be in attendance to get together in person. And I will turn it back over to Torcia now, but just remember that we're here for y'all. So even during the middle of the year or this cohort cycle, if y'all have any questions or concerns, feel free to reach out to Torcia or me and let us know and see how we can help. But we're here to support y'all. Thank you.
Thank you, Liz. And next we'll have Albert, who will give an overview of the emerging executives.
Awesome. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Torcia. Thank you, Liz. Thank you all for joining us today. So I'm Albert Alling with Wake County Economic Development, and I'm serving as co-chair of the Emerging Executives this year. So this would be my second year in the mentorship program, participated in last year, and I'm lucky enough to have Todd Tucker as my mentor. So my neighbor right over in Sanford, and we were able to connect and meet quite often. But just a quick overview of Emerging Executive for those not familiar. So Emerging Executive is really a forum and a committee that helps support early career allies and practitioners in the field. We have a big event usually early in the year. I think at the end of January is what we're shooting for this year, where we have a forum, a conference solely on content to help early career practitioners and allies. So if anyone on this call has any ideas for some content, just let me know. Our committee meets once a month until we have that forum, and we're just started out. So we're just really kind of going through the planning process. And the other thing that we do in the Emerging Execs is we kind of sit on this mentorship program. So we help make the pairs. We help myself and my co-chair Anna Walker from Cooperatives help put together with Julie the handbook that you see today. But really kind of part of the team to carry this program forward. So any information, any feedback as you get started and as we go is always helpful. And we're really just trying to make this program a key part of Emerging Execs, which is providing some of the experience that y'all have on this board to some of the early career folks in the field. So with that, I will pass it back to Torcia. Thank you.
Thank you, Albert. Now we're going to have Julie Pruitt go over our mentorship program handbook. And if you do have any questions, can you please wait until the end because we do plan on having a Q&A session. Thank you.
Are you going to show your screen, Torcia?
I am.
So mentorship is something near and dear to my heart. I'm with Marlboro Development Team. I sit on the NCEDA board, and whenever I applied to NCEDA for board membership, it's one of the things that I really wanted to be involved in and participate. And it just so happened that it was the first year that NCEDA launched the mentorship program. So I was a mentor last year with my wonderful mentee, Alyssa Blair. And again, this year we are keeping the same pairing. So kind of like Albert and Todd, we decided to keep on keeping on with each other. And it was a wonderful experience last year. I get as much out of it, I think, that as she does. And it's really something that I think that us seasoned economic developers need to give back to the future of economic development by helping our future leaders, our future economic developers in the field. So again, something near and dear to my heart. So we're going to run through the handbook. And Torcia, if you don't mind scrolling through, I hope that most of you had an opportunity to look to review the handbook before this call, so we can get into some questions later. I'm not going to read the whole thing to you. I do want to stress a couple of points in regard to the timeline. If you can make some of the conferences, that's a great way to spend some extra time with your mentee. We do ask that that you meet at least once a month, and that can be virtual or in person. And Alyssa and I, we did both, just depended on our schedule. But also, you know, anytime that she had an issue, she knew that she was welcome to contact me at any time, and I was there for her to give her guidance as she moved through some issues or some goals that we had discussed. So we put together this handbook because we really wanted to give you another tool as you're working through the mentorship program. I know that as a mentor, sometimes it's difficult to know exactly where to go, and you want to be able to make sure the mentee gets as much out of this experience as possible. So that's the reason that we put together this handbook. Okay, Torcia, we'll move on. So the mentor-mentee characteristics, you can read through that. One thing that I do want to point out is that each of you do need to take ownership of the relationship. It shouldn't be one-sided, one of you always reaching out, trying to make the appointments with the other. It really should be a mutual relationship with both of you working together to make it the best it can be. Okay, Torcia, you want to scroll on down? So this is another tool, hopefully, that will allow you guys to brainstorm and to make sure that the mentee is getting out of the program as much as they can. So the skills, the mentee skills and inventory guide, that I think is going to help you with the objectives and the action plan. I know that in another mentee relationship, this really helped us talk through what it is that she really wanted to get out of this relationship. She was having difficulty in networking and conversation starters, and just really had some issue with public speaking. And so we were able to set some goals around things that she was having issues with. So please, on the mentee front, be open and honest. Everything that you discuss with your mentor, it should be in the cone of silence. You know, it should be kept confidential, and you both should feel very open, be able to be very open and honest with each other, and that way you can get the most out of the relationship. So I would suggest, after having done this, is go through, have the mentee, you fill out your skills assessment, and then the two of you together work through the objectives and the action plan to set forth really those goals that she wanted to get out of the program. And then this is just another tool, conversation starters. If you don't really know how to get started after you've set the goals and the action plans. Maybe you've worked through some things, and maybe you just want to have some different conversation one meeting. And so maybe going through some of these questions and getting to know each other, you can use these as a tool as you are getting to know each other, and maybe extending that relationship after you get through with the assessment and set your goals and your action steps. And so the connection and accountability agreement, that's really between the two of you. You do not have to provide that to NCEDA. We don't want to see this. This is really just between the two of you to set your goals, how you prefer to be contacted. And then what are the initial goals and strengths of the mentee? Just getting started is a good place to jump off. And then also the strengths of the mentor. So the mentee can see, okay, my mentor is really strong in these areas, and maybe that's an area that I want to grow, or maybe I haven't thought about growing in that area, but they're really strong in leadership skills, and maybe structuring one of those goals around your mentor's strengths might be something. And then of course the boundaries, of course we want everybody to be comfortable in this relationship. And I think after having done this a couple of times, you'll become more and more comfortable with each other as you go through the process. And it's just like any other relationship. That relationship's going to grow over time, and it's going to be very meaningful as you spend more time with each other and are open and frank, and the trust will build and the relationship will grow. Okay, and I think the last thing was the application that we have that you guys have already completed and filled out. So I think that's those are the main points I wanted to cover on the handbook. And I guess now we can open it up for questions, or if Albert, if you or Torcia, either one, want to add anything to the comments on that I just reviewed for the handbook.
One thing I will add, and I apologize for not including this, it's about halfway through the program, so probably February, I'll send out a check-in email just to see how things are going with the mentor-mentee relationship. So if you have any questions or any concerns, or you haven't really been able to connect with your mentor-mentee, well, I would prefer you don't wait until February to let me know. But you can send me an email or call or text and let me know before then.
The only thing I'd like to add is, we're definitely trying to continually improve this program. So if there's any time where you all could use maybe an item to talk about during a month, just let us know. Myself, Julie, Torcia, Anna, or Liz, we're happy to provide some sample things to talk about, some stuff to go over. And I'm also happy to share kind of the objectives that I had for this year, if that would be helpful as well. So just keep that in mind, that you can definitely reach out to us, or we're interested in every and all feedback on this.
Thank you. And then at the end of the program, when it concludes in June, I can't determine exactly when we'll send out a survey, but we'll send out a survey after the program, and you just provide your honest feedback on how we can improve the program going forward. Okay, so now I want to open it up to questions that you may have. Anybody? Come on now. I swear next year I'm going to go ahead and schedule this for 15 minutes.
Okay, I'll ask a question then.
Chris?
And this is more for, maybe the previous mentors and mentees from an in-person kind of these monthly meetings. Have you found it advantageous to have both a mix of in-person and kind of team Zoom meetings? Just seeing kind of what the advantages, disadvantages. My mentee is Philip down in Sanford, so we're relatively close, but still, a good 45-minute drive. So just kind of curious on everybody's kind of advice on that front.
Well, Alyssa and I, we did both. We did the virtual whenever we could not be in person. And like I said, we were 3 hours apart, so it made it difficult sometimes to see each other on a regular basis. But I think anytime you can do it in person, it's just better. It's just the flow is better. And it seems like you have time to open up that conversation to maybe some things that you wouldn't necessarily talk about in the office via Zoom. Yeah, it's just, to me, it's always better in person. But if you can't, then by all means, I think you still should have that touch point and still meet virtually.
Yeah, Chris, I'll just echo what Julie said. I've got Albert and I last year, we got to meet quite a bit, and we're that same kind of 40 minutes apart, but I thought it went great. I'm an in-person type of guy, so that's what I prefer. But Albert, there may be some times, man, if you need to do the Zoom, we can do the Zoom, man, because I can do that too. But however we want to make it happen, it's good with me. But I like in person.
Julie, I think that's a very good point about in person. Todd and others that have touched on it. I've indicated to Sarah at the Gaston County EDC that we would kick off with box lunches in her conference room at the Gaston County EDC. Donnie's always been good about letting me use that parking lot. So I'm real familiar with that, that location on the interchange on I-85. So thank you.
A question. I don't personally have an issue with it, but just curious if this impacts anyone else. If so, Timothy Downs, hi Timothy, is my mentor, but we could potentially work together, if I hire Thomas and Hutton. Have you had any mentee mentor relationships where there is like a need for professional services? And I don't know, sorry, I'm not being eloquent right now, but you probably all see where I'm going. Have you any advice on just how to handle if we're paired with someone that isn't in local government but works with a company that it could be hired by us, to just be as transparent as possible about that relationship?
Hey, I'll chime in. I haven't had that experience, but in NCEDA, I think we build great relationships with service providers all the time. And one of the ways that I've tried to avoid getting mixed up with the appearance of me showing favoritism of some sort, I will bid things out. So I think if you were to stick with a bid method to award contracts, then no one can say that you're playing favorites or that relationship can be influenced because the bid is the bid.
Yeah. Okay. And that makes sense, for sure. Just being as transparent in the process as normal. But just making note, because I think that's a really great thing that we have with NCEDA, and I'm pumped to have a professional service provider as my mentor, because I've got a lot of questions. But just knowing that could maybe be an issue for people in that type of pairing. Okay, cool. Thank you.
I don't think we've had that issue, and I hope we won't. But it was a good question, so thank you, and thank you, Marvin, for your feedback. Do we have any other questions? No? All right, well, I said it may not take the full hour, at least not 30 minutes. But, I'll take 22. But again, I just want to say thank you all for being a part. Thank you all for being a part of this program. We hope you enjoy it. Again, I'll send a check-in email probably February just to see how things are going, but you don't have to wait till February to reach out to me. I believe in the e-introduction emails that I sent, I put my email address, which you all should have, and then my cell phone number. You can call the work number, but it just comes right to my cell phone. So that's why I just gave you all my cell phone number. And if there are no other questions, thank you, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
See you guys.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
See you in the
take care.
morning. See you in the morning, Albert.
See you, Todd.
Hey, Albert and Julie, can you hang on for a minute? Oh, nope, they already hung up. Okay.